What is up, everyone? Please take a second to hit that like button. The more likes that we get in a short period of time, the more people the algorithm will bring into the chat to come hang out with us and see what's going on. So please hit that like button. Let me know how you're doing, and happy freedom. So I was getting everything set up for this White House Live. Wasn't supposed to go live till 3 o'clock. It's now almost 3:15. Old man Walter decided to go live 15 minutes early. I tried to scramble to put everything together, and then everything crashed and burned. And now I'm talking to customer service, but I think I got everything working now. We're going to get started in a little bit. We are a little bit late, but it is what it is. So please take a second to share out this live, and we'll get started in just a minute. All right, looks like we're good to go. Let's get it started.
Please welcome Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz.
That was the vertically challenged adjustment. Hello, Hallandale Beach. I am so thrilled to welcome President Biden to Florida's 23rd Congressional District. Good afternoon, and thanks to everyone for joining us. I have had the privilege of sharing many stages with President Biden, but never have I been prouder to stand beside him than I am today. We have with us one of the greatest champions older Americans have ever had in their corner. Bar none. After decades of frustration, this president finally faced down Big Pharma and said, "You will no longer price gouge our seniors. No more." He has done so much more, like safeguard seniors in nursing homes and support the workers who care for them. But I want to focus today on the stronger financial security that netted from this president that he put beneath every senior in Florida. Democrats delivered several laws to make life safer and more secure, but the one history will note is the Inflation Reduction Act. It tackles climate change, the deficit, and makes the rich pay their fair share. But what it truly gives our seniors is real peace of mind. For the first time since the Affordable Care Act, this new law will bring down and keep down prescription drug costs and insurance premiums. That is so, so critical. How, you might ask? This law lifts Big Pharma's chokehold by capping annual Medicare drug costs at $2,000 and insulin at $35 a month. That is such a big deal. That means 3.6 million Floridians with Medicare Part D will soon pay less for medications, making life easier for 100,000 seniors who count on Medicare in my district alone. Just think about that. And for nearly 250,000 Florida Medicare beneficiaries on insulin, they will finally see relief with $35 monthly cost caps. You want to improve people's lives? I bet some people in here want to improve people's lives. Are you with me? Okay. Come on, people, let's wake up. We got the President of the United States in the house. Come on now. I know you got a little more energy than I hear. Okay, thank you very much. That's the crowd I know. Those are the people I represent. Okay, just wanted to make sure we're still here. So if we want to improve people's lives, how about not weakening Social Security and Medicare, as Republicans propose to do? How about you stop making seniors choose between buying insulin or food every month? How about that? The Inflation Reduction Act also finally allows Medicare to negotiate lower costs for some of the priciest prescription drugs. And if drug companies raise Medicare prices faster, Medicare drug prices faster than inflation, guess what? They pay a penalty and they have to rebate the difference back to Medicare. We don't let them get away with that. This new law also means Medicare access to additional free vaccines, including the one for shingles. Now, we all know someone with this painful illness, and sadly, we may all know someone who put off the shingles vaccine for it because it costs too much.
Prostitute.
President Biden and Democrats in Congress are helping to end all of that and make prescription drugs and access to life-saving health care more affordable. The Inflation Reduction Act also helps more than seniors. It builds on the Affordable Care Act's success by expanding coverage and cutting premium costs. This saves about 2.7 million Floridians who have ACA coverage an average of about $590 annually. That is real money, my friends, real money. And it lowers their drug prices, helping 139,000 people in my district alone. More than 500,000 Floridians will have health insurance who would not otherwise have had it without this new law. That is vital, life-saving care. And who did that? Joe Biden and congressional Democrats. Look, we all know that Social Security and Medicare are on the ballot in Florida. It is a top-of-mind concern for all of us. If we protect these critical lifelines,
Top of ass.
less stressful and more dignified for millions of our older friends and neighbors. Protecting Social Security and Medicare helps every American family, whether it's today for a loved one or tomorrow for yourself, quite frankly. My friends, it is the professional honor of my life to have the privilege of representing our community in our nation's capital. And it is incredibly special
to come hang out with us.
President Biden in our district here today. And now, I'd like you to help me welcome Sheldon Armis, who will share how this life-changing legislation helps millions of Americans gain greater access to less expensive, quality health care and prescription drugs. Sheldon?
Are they friend or foe?
Hi, everybody. Thank you for inviting me here, Mr. President. My name is Sheldon Armis. I'm 74 years old, and I live in a senior community in Boynton Beach.
I highly doubt Trump invited him there.
A mothership for senior citizens.
To have the privilege of
8 years ago, just 1 month into retirement, I underwent a quadruple cardiac bypass operation that saved my life. But it left me taking 7 drugs each day. 2 of these medications, Xarelto and Brilinta, are blood thinners. They prevent me from developing dangerous blood clots that could lead to heart attack and stroke. I'm grateful to have safe and reliable medications to keep me alive, but these medications are really expensive. Johnson & Johnson has raised the price of Xarelto every year, much more than the rate of inflation. It is currently priced at over $500 per year, per month. If Xarelto price just went up the same rate as inflation, it would cost $300 per month. That's plain and simple price gouging, absolutely. Thankfully, President Biden and Democrats in Congress passed the historic Inflation Reduction Act, which will prevent Big Pharma from raising prices like that, and it will cap out-of-pocket costs for Medicare Part D patients, providing real savings and peace of mind for millions of Florida people. The Inflation Reduction Act finally puts patients before pharmaceutical companies. But Republican officials like Senator Rick Scott here in Florida, they don't support it. I met Senator Scott and talked with him about the astronomical cost of prescription drugs. But instead of working to lower the cost of drugs for millions of Florida seniors, he decided he wants to keep them high. Why high? I don't know. So, knowing that we have leaders like President Biden fighting to bring down our drug prices, not keeping the money in the pockets of the pharmaceutical companies, means the world to seniors like my wife and myself, who have been waiting for this relief for years. I'm proud to introduce the man who stood with patients, took on Big Pharma, and he won. He won. Please welcome President Joe Biden.
Eat shit, old man Walter. Thank you so much, Bipolar Bear, for 25 months. The Hooligan membership program. You're officially a hooligan. All this stuff feels so staged and fake. Was there 12 people here? Everyone you see on the screen is probably a relative. It kind of looks like the circus is in town. Who the shit is that guy? It almost looks like Bill Clinton up there.
Well, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Please have a seat. Please have a seat. Thank you. Thank you.
They should shave his head. I think he'd look more presentable.
Introduction. And Sheldon, there's millions of people like you all across America.
Press 1 in the chat for a big fat eat shit Walter.
And not only seniors, but a lot of Americans. My son had stage 4 glioblastoma. Thank God he was in the military. Well, that's how he got it. But anyway, he was a year in Iraq, but he had coverage. But the costs are astronomical. The costs are astronomical. You all know somebody who's had a serious disease. Some of these drugs can be 10, 12, 15,000 bucks a year, some of them. And so what Sheldon went through is something that a lot of you, maybe some in the audience, have gone through as well. And look, let me start off by saying I love Debbie Wasserman Schultz, and I make no apologies. not only one of my best friends in the United States Congress, I know I don't look it, but I served 36 years in the Congress. And I spent time working with Debbie. She wasn't there nearly that long when I was there, but my point is we became good friends because she has enormous integrity, and she has a sense of understanding what people are going through, and she plays it out, she works it out. And so she was one of my biggest supporters in helping me not only pass, but draft and move some of the legislation we're going to talk about today, a couple pieces of it. And I don't have a greater friend in the United States Senate, and I don't have a greater friend when I was vice president, nor as president. So Debbie, thank you, kiddo. I don't know where you're sitting, but oh, there you are, Debbie. Thank you. Folks, last time I was in Florida was almost a month ago because of Hurricane Ian, and we surveyed the damage in the ground at Fort Myers, and it was the surrounding communities by air, helicopter. The damage and destruction was historic, almost unimaginable. And I've said then that it's going to take not weeks or months, but years to fully recover and rebuild. But I also made a commitment. I made a commitment that my administration, the federal government, would give the people of Florida the commitment that we're going to not move until it's all done. We're going to stick with you till it gets all done. And look, my administration has been going to follow through on those commitments to get the people of Florida what they need as fast as they can get it and to help to rebuild. So far, we put in through the legislation Debbie helped me pass as well, $1.7 billion in federal grants, disaster loans, and flood insurance payments have been provided to the state and small businesses and households. FEMA has made assistance available to 26 counties and to provide temporary housing and for the survivors of those 6 counties. We've sent 24 disaster recovery centers across the state for survivors to register for help. And FEMA, Federal Emergency Management Assistance, is going door to door to reach people as well. They've also performed over 180,000 home inspections, 180,000 personal inspections. The U.S. Small Business Administration has approved $460 million in low-interest business loans for renters and homeowners. Like I said, this is just the beginning of our effort, and we're going to be with you every step of the way. And by the way, the very piece of legislation I'm talking about today contained $369 billion for environmental protection. Folks,
What is like with the cheering and stuff, all the woos and stuff coming from the background, it makes it sound so fake. I mean, we know it's fake, but it just, I don't know.
many Americans,
Recorded cheering.
a great deal of people in this state are going to be affected. And
Thank you so much, High Plains Drifter, for continuing the membership program for 5 months. You're officially a hooligan. I appreciate you.
And there's a lot of good Republicans out there, but they're under a lot of pressure. Social Security and Medicare are the 2 things I want to talk about. You know, they've been around a long time. President Roosevelt signed the Social Security law into the law 87 years ago. And Lyndon Baines Johnson signed the Medicare into law 50 years ago. These programs do something so basic yet so important. Almost half of all seniors in the United States lived in poverty before Social Security. Let me say it again. 50%, almost 50% of all the seniors in America lived in poverty before this law was passed. Almost half the seniors, half of them lived in poverty, even those who spent a lifetime working. Not enough to put food on the table until Medicare came along. No.
Thank you so much, Shamrock Blood, for continuing the subscription over on Twitch for 7 months. You're officially a hooligan. I appreciate you.
People often worked until they took their last breath. They couldn't even think about retiring. And if they did, they'd starve. Then we came together as a country, Democrats and Republicans, and said we have to do better than this. After working hard for decades, people deserve better than what existed at the time. They deserve to retire with dignity and peace of mind.
Yeah, scream at us. We like it.
In the United States of America. Some of you are on Social Security, or your parents or your grandparents are. They earned it. They earned every single paycheck. They put money in since they were teenagers to pay for Social Security. And those are more than government programs. They're a promise we made as a country to work hard and contribute. And when it comes time,
Thank you so much, Cornish, for the credits over on Odyssey. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for the support.
solid guarantee, an ironclad commitment. Generations of Americans have counted on it, and it works. The number of elderly people living in poverty has plummeted since Social Security was created. It's transformed millions of people's lives. Here in Florida, 21% of the people are over the age of 65. It's the second highest of any state in the country as a percent of their state. Some are people of means, but the vast majority live day to day relying on Social Security and Medicare, and maybe a little help from their families. That's why I'm going to keep fighting for these programs, because I believe, the word my dad used all the time, everyone's entitled to be treated with dignity.
Hey, thank you so much, Sean, for the $5 donation. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for the support. It's the same crap over and over again. It's hopeless. Nah, I don't think it's hopeless. I'm seeing a lot of retaliation kind of happening. I'm seeing a lot of people calling out gay stuff and a lot of the other stuff that have made life difficult over the last 2 years. I'm seeing people resist in a big way lately. That red wave everyone's talking about might be real.
Inflation Reduction Act, which Debbie helped write, pass, and monitor all the way through. And thank you, Debbie. There are a number of parts to it, but I want to talk about one. I want to talk about Medicare. Every single Democrat in the United States Congress voted for the Inflation Reduction Act. Every single one voted for it. Not one single Republican voted for it in the House and the Senate. Take prescription drugs. Folks, we pay the highest price for prescription drugs than anywhere in the world. The prescription you have from a drug manufacturer in the United States, you get at the local drugstore. You get in a plane and fly to Paris, you can get the same exact drug for less. Every other major capital in the world. How can that be? Why is that the case? The very same prescription by the very same company. For years, many of us have tried very hard to bring prescription drugs under control. But for years, Big Pharma has stood in the way. They beat us every time. I remember starting this battle when I was a 35-year-old United States Senator. Over the past year, drug companies raised the price to make a reference to what my introducer said, raised the price on 1,200 drugs, more than the rate of inflation. Let me get something clear here. Hold for a second. Let me get something clear. It's not they did anything more to the drug, more research and development on that particular drug to make it better. They did nothing.
Prostitute.
Nothing. Same exact drug with no change. I understand if they have a breakthrough in that drug and make it more effective and charge more. I get that. But none of that. None.
Hey, thank you so much, Junker, for continuing the membership program. You're officially a hooligan. Thank you.
The price of one blood pressure medicine. One.
What's the price of gas, old man Walter?
Medicare recipients are relying every day. Increased 500%. 5 times. The exact same drug.
G-Ski says he's having a hard time thinking about what he's talking about right now because he's too busy playing pocket pool. Hard life.
$1,000 for an autoimmune disease. Again, no change in the quality of it, just changing the price. And they talk about inflation. You know, we're dealing with it for a whole second. Inflation is a worldwide problem right now because of a war in Iraq and the impact on oil and what Russia's doing. The war in Ukraine. And thinking of Iraq because that's when my son died. Because he died. But the point is that that's why it's up. We have the lowest inflation rate of almost any major country in the world. We've done a lot to try to take it under control. I've released millions of barrels of oil from our Strategic Petroleum Reserve, keeping the price down. It's down about $1.25 and going down. It needs to go more. But they talk about inflation all the time. What in God's name And they asked why I call this the Inflation Reduction Act. If you have to take a prescription that costs you an arm and a leg, and I reduce that, and you don't have to pay as much, it reduces your cost of living. It reduces inflation in your paycheck. And by the way, no, I'm serious. My dad used to say everybody deserves a little bit of breathing room. Granted, when the price of a gallon of gasoline went up, we talked about it at our kitchen table. We weren't poor. We were an average middle-class family. We lived in...
I swear to God, every speech he brings us back to the kitchen table.
We're in a situation where...
every time, setting us down at the kitchen table. Talking about that breathing room. Old man Walter, you're a joke.
We didn't have any money. We didn't have anything left over. And so it was, do you have anything left to have a little bit of breathing room? Look what's happening to drug prices on average Americans. It's actually outrageous. But this year, we finally beat farm.
What's up, Craig? $5.75 in Oregon. That's rough. That's rough stuff. That's like $1 more than it is here. Almost $2.
Big Pharma lost.
Big Farmer. Look at that look on his face. He don't even know where he's at.
Congress. And I have the bad reputation of Biden's not partisan enough. Well, in this one, I'm partisan. Because a lot of these guys came up to me and women said, basically said, not up to me, they can't come up to me in the White House as much when I see them though, saying, I know you're right, but it cost me in my election. I'd lose a primary if I supported you. Well, look, starting in January, if Big Pharma tries to raise the drug price faster than the cost of inflation, they're going to have to write a check for the difference back to Medicare to cover the difference, lowering. Instead of the money going to the pockets of big drug companies buying back their own stock, which is the way in which, just why they keep buying their own stock back, that's how the executives get paid. 89% of their salary, I think that's the number, is paid on stock. Well, guess what? If you have 100 shares of stock and you buy back 50, the 50 left are worth more than 100 each one. Same total amount. And also, they're in fact putting them into the pocket.
He looks totally lost. He could be just standing in a broom closet with the lights off, all alone, door closed in his unders, and he'd still have all this energy for whatever he's rambling on about. He's totally lost.
Lower drug prices. And look, the practical thing, at least in my household where I was raised, is that means you have more money for the car payments, more money for groceries, which are high because of Putin cutting off grain supplies.
Is that what it is? I wondered why it was so high. What's up, gold-blooded?
For ordinary Americans. What the drug companies are doing now is really inflating your cost of living. And we're doing something about it. We're going to give Medicare the power to negotiate lower prescription drug costs, period. We fought for years to make this happen. This year we got it done. Medicare is going to finally have the power to negotiate lower prescription drug prices like the VA can do, the Veterans Administration. They can do that now, and private insurance companies. The VA can say, look, you want to sell all our veterans that particular drug, we're not going to pay that much for it. We're not going to pay $10, we're only going to pay $7.50. If you don't want it, we're not going to buy it. You don't want to sell it to us. Well, it's a gigantic customer. Well, the biggest customer in the world for the drug companies is Medicare. And so whether VA negotiated prices that are 54% lower on average than Medicare prescription drugs. The same if you're a senior veteran on a Medicare drug, that another person, because you're VA.
On regular drugs? Or what are we talking about here, Walter? You're getting off topic.
Retired auto worker, guess what? The person in the VA, and they deserve it, gets paying 54% less for the same exact medicine, prescription. Doesn't make any sense. But now Medicare is going to have the power to negotiate lower drug prices. So for example, when these guys come along and say, we're going to charge you, I'm making this up, we're going to charge you 10 cents per an aspirin. And they say, no, we're only going to pay 5. Well, we're not going to sell it to you. No problem. They're going to lose 50 billion aspirin or whatever the hell they sell. The point is they're going to have to respond. Seniors are going to see their out-of-pocket costs for prescriptions. This is really important. It was really important to my mom and my dad. Thank God, you know, we had 4 kids. We were able to make up the difference for mom and dad. But, guess what? Now, the total amount of drug prices, prescription drug price you have to pay in any one year, if you're a senior on Medicare or Social Security, will not be more than $2,000 a year. That's it. You can purchase $15,000 worth of drugs. You only pay $2,000. $2,000 for prescription drugs, period. Whether it's expensive cancer drugs or any other drug they need for the pharmacy. My son, who died of stage 4 glioblastoma, the cost of those drugs was enormous. Enormous. We're talking about drugs that can cost $9, $10, $14.
Sorry about flashing the bottom of the screen. I'm trying to check the time. I gotta go to the post office.
To having to pay $2,000 for all the drugs they need. All the drugs they need. Now, starting in January, we're also capping the cost of insulin. How many of you know somebody with diabetes needs insulin? Well, guess what? And
guess what? And come on, old man Walter.
And so what happened was we said, okay.
He just did the universal sign for BJ into the crowd. Who was in the crowd?
Patented because he wanted it available for everyone. I spoke to him. Okay.
Huge.
And guess what? It cost $10 to make. $10 to make. And if you count packaging and everything, you could maybe get it up to $15. Well, guess what? They're not going to have to pay more than $35 a month. They'll still make a significant profit instead of an average of $400 a month.
Throwing up gang signs.
Well, it's important. And guess what? It affected, I was at an event like this in Virginia about 4 months ago talking about this, what are we doing? And a woman stood up and she said, I have 2 children. They both have diabetes. And I can't afford the insulin, so we have to share it. We have to cut it back. We split it in half. Imagine a parent looking at their child, knowing they don't have the money or the insurance to be able to pay for it. Talk about being deprived of your dignity. Looking at your child who could have permanent damage or die without access.
Look at him just angry for no reason.
And by the way,
personality switch.
Available over the counter. So people.
Why would you clap for that?
Specialists. Folks who need them, these here.
They're trying to normalize his angry outbursts.
Patients $3,000 per set of hearing aids. Plus, for seniors on Medicare Part D, recommended vaccines like shingles vaccines are now available for free. 2 million people have been paying $200 for those shots up to now. On average, folks, on average, they're paying $200 for $100, as much as 2 some places, I should say. And guess what? You have to wonder how many seniors skipped the shot because they couldn't afford it. Well, they're going to be free now. You won't have to make that choice anymore. And for years, the fee you paid for Medicare to cover your visit to your doctor's office has gone up. Now, for the first time in more than a decade, it's going to go down. It's going to go down. For real.
See what I mean? Like loud cheering and stuff because your Medicaid payment's going to go down. Is it though? Is it going to be like gas where it went down for like 2 days so they could say it on the news and then jack the price right back up?
Premiums are going to be down. And look, it's a big deal for seniors. Just add up how much we're reducing the cost of living on Medicare for those in need of health care. $2,000 cap on total drugs, $2,000 for seniors in a year. We're also in a situation where we're going to make it difficult for them to charge so much more. Thousands of dollars a year are going to be saved by reducing insulin costs. We're saving some people thousands of dollars, as I said, a year, reducing the cost of hearing aids to $3,000 by $3,000.
What's up, Hydrodynamic? Not trying to interrupt old man Walter, but we've heard this all before, and I'm feeling a little spicy today.
Between $5,000 and $10,000 a year. Some breathing room, as my dad would say.
There's all that breathing room I was just talking about.
It's hard won and hard fought by Debbie and some of her colleagues.
Now he's got to hit us with a, let me be clear. Let's get one of those.
I truly do, by the way. I truly do, because we used to be able to do a lot of bipartisan things. But the truth is, every single Democrat in Congress voted for the Inflation Reduction Act. And every single solitary Republican in Congress voted against these savings. Every single one, including Senator Rubio, who now acts like he doesn't. No, but I was disappointed. It really disappointed me. Now listen to what they're telling us. Republicans in Congress are telling us that their number one priority, if they gain control of the Congress next Tuesday, is to repeal, number one, the Speaker said, the leader, Republican leaders.
A lead.
Priority is to repeal the Inflation Reduction Act. That also includes all the matters going to save hundreds of thousands of dollars for people in terms of their energy bills, because they're going to do away with the whole issue with regard to weatherization. But let's be crystal clear what it means. If Republicans in the Congress have their way, the power we just gave Medicare to negotiate prescription drug prices goes away, gone. $2,000 cap on prescription drugs, gone. $35 a month cap on Medicare, for insulin for Medicare, gone. Savings on health care premiums of $800 a year for millions of Americans in the Affordable Care Act, gone. And of course, they're still determined to do away with the entire Affordable Care Act. That means an end to protection for tens of millions of people who can't get insurance because they have a pre-existing condition. Only means to do that is through the Affordable Care Act. If the Republicans get their way, that's going to be gone as well. And folks, it gets even worse. They're coming after Social Security and Medicare in a big way. Folks here in Florida, you need to know this, and I mean this sincerely. You need to know this. You need to know why. Because of your own senator, Senator Rick Scott. I have the brochure here he has. He's in charge of electing Republicans to the Senate. He's the head of the campaign. And he laid out a clear plan. He said every 5 years, Social Security and Medicare would have to be reauthorized. And this is from...
I'm surprised he's not triggered by the American flag on the front, since everyone thinks it's a Trump flag.
Quote, all federal legislation sunsets, means goes out of existence in 5 years. If the law is worth keeping, Congress will pass it again. So every 5 years, the Congress have to vote to reauthorize Social Security. Reauthorize it, or else it goes away. Would have to vote to reauthorize Medicare, reauthorize veterans' benefits. And I go down the list, but guess what? The very idea that a senator from Florida wants to cut Social Security and Medicare, and by the way, they don't have to it doesn't have to go away, they can cut it. They can change it, basically. A senator from Florida going after Medicare and Social Security? I tell you what, I don't know where, as they say in Southern, don't know where y'all been. Hot damn, boy. I tell you, look, it's so outrageous you might not even believe it. And again, word for word, all federal legislation sunsets, means goes away in 5 years. If the law is worth keeping, Congress can pass it again. In other words, it goes...
Coin Dragon says everyone has to take a shot every time he says, guess what?
And then along came Senator Johnson from Wisconsin. He says 5 years is too long to wait. No, it's hard to believe. No, I really mean it. It's hard to believe. He says that's too long. Every year, every single year, it should be on the chopping block.
Watch your tone, old man Walter.
If Congress doesn't vote affirmatively to keep it, it goes away, gone. You've been paying in Social Security your whole life. You earned it. Now these guys want to take it away. Who in the hell do they think they are? Excuse my language.
See, doesn't the clapping just sound disingenuine?
Imagine a child care worker in her mid-60s been at it for 35 years. She's paid into Medicare and Social Security every paycheck. It needs to get cut or it's gone. She's getting ready to retire, trying to make...
I'm waiting to see them force the Star Spangled Banner in the crowd like they did for the Trump rally last weekend or maybe the weekend before. Let's see if they stage one of those, because that shit was super genuine. You know how hard it was to sit here and not cry, watch those Americans stand up and just sing the national anthem for no reason other than they love the country? Come on, man.
Imagine the widow here in Florida, and all she has left is Social Security. What's she going to do if it goes away? If she didn't have Social Security, the poverty rate, people over 65 years of age, would be 4 times what it is now. Imagine a senior who takes a couple of expensive medications for arthritis and high blood pressure. He's one of more than 1 million people with Medicare who will have to spend more than $2,000 in the pharmacy drugs again. Look, for years he's been struggling to keep up with the cost of these prescriptions. Now, finally, there's relief for the $2,000 cap. But if Republicans have their way, instead of looking forward to having extra money in their pocket, it's not going to happen. Will this drug cost skyrocket in Congress if Republicans get rid of the cap? Well, they're going to need a hell of a lot of votes because I'll veto it. But, look, you could make changes that drive drug costs even higher. Just imagine living with that uncertainty. What do Republicans want to do with the money? Well, guess what? They talk about they want to cut taxes for the wealthy and the corporations. In 2020, 55 of the corporate 500 companies, the largest companies in the world, in the United States of America, made $40 billion, paid 0 in income tax. So I passed a law saying they got to pay a minimum of 15%. 15%, you all pay more than that. 15%. Well, they want to repeal it. It would allow some of the largest, most profitable companies in America to go back to paying 0. And they want to extend the $2 trillion tax cut, which overwhelmingly benefited the very wealthy, the biggest corporations in the last administration, not a penny of which was paid for in the Trump administration. What's become of us? Folks, many of us are focused on inflation right now. But let me say something. I want to point something out. They talk about big spending Democrats. Yeah, I spend a lot of money to do these things, but guess what? I cut the deficit in half. In half, the federal deficit. This year alone, $1.4 trillion reduction, $400 billion reducing the debt. And last year, $350 billion reducing debt. Give me a break. I'm so sick and, oh, I shouldn't get going. Come on, man. I mean, it's just amazing. No, that's a fact. As my granddaughter, she used to say, Google it. You know, I'm serious. We've cut the federal deficit in half while doing all this.
He's about to start spitting some truth there. He's like, I'm so sick of it. Yeah, tell us what you're sick of, old man Walter.
And by the way, the largest tax increase we had was people for companies who were paying 0 to 15%. School teachers pay a hell of a lot more than 15%. So I don't know what the deal is here. Quickly, let's talk, and I'll end this, talk about inflation. If you want to raise the cost of living to seniors, go ahead and give free rein to drug companies. Look at what these drug companies have done. Republicans in Congress are cheering them on. Go ahead and reduce Social Security and Medicare. Watch what happens to the cost of living of hardworking Floridians. That's what I call inflation. At the end of the month, what you have left, if you have no money, that's inflation. The things you need, are they going up?
Are you redefining inflation and then coughing into the mic?
Now they've come forward with a real ticking time bomb. This one is outrageous. I mean it. And I've been there a long time. Now, the Republican leader is saying, if I don't cooperate in cutting Social Security between going back into session and the end of this term, and I don't support cutting Medicare and Social Security, they're going to shut down the government by not providing the votes to pay our federal debt to other countries in the world. Be the first time in all of American history. They're not going to get it done, but guess what? Remember last time Republicans tried this? And I was literally, as vice president, negotiating with the Republican leader until almost Christmas Eve day, New Year's Eve day, until close to midnight. We finally got it resolved because they couldn't take they weren't going to continue. They knew what would happen. Remember what happened? The entire credit of the federal government was degraded internationally because we played that game. It didn't even do it and degraded it. Look, this is irresponsible. Nothing would create more chaos and do more damage to the American economy than playing around with whether we pay our national bills. Let me close with this. Over the past few years, we've faced the most difficult challenges in our history, both at home and abroad. But we're making real progress. You just have to keep going while protecting what generations before us did and make sure we're the nation we thought we were. Look, I know we can do this. I really do. I'm confident. For everything we've been through, I've never been more optimistic about America's prospects. We're better situated than any nation in the world. We really are. We have to just remember who we are. We're the United States of America. No, I'm not joking. And there's nothing beyond our capacity if we set our mind together and work together. So God bless you all. God protect our troops. And God give some of our Republican friends some enlightenment. Thank you.
He don't know where he's going. Other than hell. Straight to hell. Alright, hooligans, let's get ready for the Pledge of Allegiance. Alright, everyone, please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Alright, hooligans, that's that for now. I have to run to the post office. I called them because I got a new P.O. box because the last one didn't work out. They closed it in July and never said anything to me. They were like, well, we stuck a letter in your P.O. box. Well, that's great. I don't have time to go there every single day and check it, you bastards. So I got another one in a new location. Hit me up, email or Discord or Gilded or whatever if you want to get the P.O. box. You can send me a self-addressed envelope if you would like a signed JeffMAC sticker. Let me show you what it would look like because I still have 100 of them left or so. They'll look like this, all signed with the Sharpie marker. I don't know, I think they're vinyl or something, but free of charge. Just send me an envelope, or if you would like to send me something, I called the post office right before I went live, and they said they got multiple boxes there for me, so I have to drive to Lillington really quick and pick that stuff up. So if you would like the P.O. box, definitely send me an email or hit me up, Gilded or Discord. If you're not a part of Gilded or Discord, definitely join the Hooligan community. It's the place to be. The hooligans are there 24/7 to hang out in a chat like you're in right now. We also have a news board that is constantly up to date with news articles so you can stay up to date with what's going on. It's also the best way to be notified for when and where we go live every single time we go live. So definitely join the community. You can get it on your desktop or you can download the free app on your phone. It is the way to go. So I hope to see you guys there. That's that for now. I think there's supposed to be something else going on with the White House. Let me check it really quick because I don't know if we're going to cover it, but I'm going to look into it because maybe you guys know what it is. The International Counter Ransomware Initiative Summit. I don't know exactly what that is. I'll check on it when I get back to the house. But let me know in the Hooligan community, either Gilded or Discord, if you guys would like to cover that, either as a watch party today or maybe even tomorrow, depending on how things go. Update me on that because I don't really know what that's about. And I think that's about it. Thank you so much, EFO, for the $5 donation. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. So for you hooligans that did not see my post, I'm just going to read it verbatim. Let me find it. Update on the website. I don't know if you guys have been on Twitter, but things have been happening on Twitter. Ever since Elon took over, people are going ham. Alright, so I'm just going to read the update. I posted it in the Hooligan community earlier. I also posted it on social media and stuff. For those of you that have not heard it or seen it, this is what it says. We're going to have all the cool stuff just in case you thought otherwise. We will have a place for lives, chat rooms with dedicated topics, the ability to call from person to person between profiles on the website, 50-person group voice chat. We have mini pop-up chats that follow you anywhere you go on the website, whether you're on mobile or desktop. So if you're shopping or you're checking out someone else's profile page or commenting on their posts or checking out their blog, you'll have a chat right there. So if another friend or the general chat or something is got stuff going on, you will be able to chat with the mini chat right there without interrupting what you are doing on the website. There will be a merch store on there. All the items on the store are exclusive. Those items will not be available on any of the other merch stores. So we're going to have text and stuff on shirts that you will only be able to get there. There will be specific items like shoes and backpacks and coats and stuff that you will only be able to get from the website. And yeah, so those are all the notes that I dropped earlier today, but I worked on the website all day yesterday. So happy Halloween to everyone that participated in Halloween yesterday. I did not. Not for any particular reason. I was just working on the website. I literally was on the website from 11 o'clock in the morning until 3, almost 3 this morning, today. So, I mean, what is that? Like 9 hours or something, short of 24 hours working on the website straight. Like I sat right here in this chair all day yesterday. This was my Halloween, working on the website, because it's going to be awesome. I swear. I know you guys are going to love it. So I'm really dedicated to getting it done. And it's not going to get done if I don't sit here and do it. So I got to put in the time. But you guys are worth it and we deserve it. So just want to let you guys know I am working on that. Anyways, big shout out to everyone that made donations, join the membership program, or purchase any merch. I appreciate all of you, and I would not be able to do this without you. So thank you so much for all your support. I'll see you on the next live. Until then, stand tall, shine bright, and that's a wrap.